Hey gamers, today we're going to look at the game Hot Shots. Let's check it out. To set up the game, each player is going to pick one of these four little characters here. They're just these little stand-ups here. You'd stick them in the home base right here. You can pick from these four characters. You got the Swamper, the Spotter, the Crew Boss, and the Sawyer. Now each one of these does a little special, has a little special ability in the game, and you can choose which one you want. So anyway, you would all start at the home base. You can set up these tiles any way you want. And how you decide where the flames go, there are these little dots underneath the flame board here, and that's how you know it starts with fire on it. Now it always starts with 2 less than the actual number, so in this case I put 1 fire there, 3 and 2 in its respective places where it needed to go. So that's how you set up the board. Now like I said, there's things in the guide here that tell you how you can set it up if you want to have it set up a certain way, but you can basically just spread out however you want. These tiles mean different things, which I'll get to in a minute. But first off, how do you play? Well, this is very simple because everything you need to know is right here on the card. It even gives you the order of play. First off, you can move up to 2 tiles. Now, when you move, you can't move through areas like this area here. It says this is a lake. This says, hey, no fire can be here. Plus, no one can walk through it. And also, you can't walk through fire either. So if you were here, you couldn't go through here. If you stop on a fire, you have to stop and fight it. You can move out of fire on your next turn, but you can't go through fire. You have to fight it if you're there or move back out of it. Now the next thing you would do next is you would fight the fire, and how you do that is you're going to roll dice, and this is kind of like push your luck a little bit. On each one of these tiles are these emblems, and each one of these emblems will match the dies here. You got firemen, chainsaws, hoses, something looks like a rake and a shovel. Rakes are blue. There they are on the line there. This is called something else. I can't remember the name right now. And so you would basically just roll all these die, and you're trying to see how many of these you can match. So let's say I rolled it, and I matched up just 2. So I have 4 that didn't match, and I have 2 that did. Well, if I look at my card here, I need at least 3 to match to do at least something. So I got to keep rolling. So I'm going to roll again here. This is my second time. And you keep rolling each time. Oh, matched another one. And I can keep rolling each time as long as I match something. If I roll at a time I don't match something, I will have to put an additional fire on it, which would be a bad thing. Now, of course, with 3 right there, I could put a fire break up. This prevents fire from spreading in case of a light wind. You would just place it on the tile, and it would basically stop any fires from crossing that barrier. I still want to roll again. I want to roll one more time, see if I match these up. Now, oh, I did. I got another one. Now I got 4 in a row. And as you see with 4, I can get 1 flame. Now, if I was to keep rolling, let me try this one more time. And I got a chainsaw. Wow, this never happens. Okay, so now I got 5 in a row. That's good. That can take care of 2 flame. I can get a token or a fire break. Now, I've already mentioned what a fire break is. Tokens are little things that can help you in the game. For instance, this one allows you to not draw a fire card at the end of your turn. And so it's little advantages in the game to get a token. And then of course, if I was to match all 6 symbols on the card, then I could get rid of 3 flame, a token, and a fire break. I get all the above, which would be really nice. Now, what happens, let's say if I'd have rolled this last one to see if I could have matched it, and I did not. Oh, like I said, a fire would go on there. However, if you're fighting fire with a friend on there, you get a free reroll with no penalty. So I could roll it again to see if I would get that match, and I still didn't. But again, if I had a third friend, I could roll one more time without a penalty. So this game really focuses on working as a team and fighting fires together. Now, another thing I failed to mention, if you are next to the lake here, you actually get an additional reroll. Any tile next to a lake will get an additional reroll because you're right next to a water source. Certain tiles in the game do certain effects here. Some of them, like when this one catches fire and it blows up, how they get scorched is basically you look at the number. If that many flame is on there, this tile goes to scorched. And scorched tokens are bad. You don't want these. In fact, if you have 8 of them in the game, then you have lost the game. But scorched tokens you can walk right through, so there's that advantage, but you really don't want things getting scorched. Certain things that get scorched could be bad for you. For instance, this one would have the fire. This is where there's some gas tanks there, and that would spread the fire to every fire ember to every surrounding tile that touches that one. There are other tiles in the game like this one, and it has your player's icon on it. If the tile with your icon on it gets scorched, then you will in turn lose your special ability. You'll basically flip this over, and as you see, it's scorched now. That's really cool. And your special ability is gone. So you do want to keep watch over the tiles that carry the player's special abilities, because if those get burned, that is going to hurt you in the game. Now, there are things that can help you out when fighting fires. There are these 3 little things. You can use each one once during the game. The water plane, basically, you can go in a straight line and go over 3 tiles and extinguish all the fire there. So for instance, if I wanted to go down here, 1, 2, 3, or maybe I'd go 1, 2, 3. You can do a slight curve. You can't do 3 in a row like this because a plane wouldn't circle like that. It'd kind of do a curve or a straight. So that's the plane. That's a very powerful one. The helicopter can basically just drop anywhere it wants, and it'll extinguish 3 flame instantly. And then you have the fire truck there, and the fire truck can set up 3 consecutive fire breaks along, a road, 3 tiles long. Now, whenever you use one of these items, of course, you got to be on this board, but your guy will travel with them. So if the plane goes, it splashes these 2 tiles and it lands there, then that's where your player is going to end his turn there. Same thing with the helicopter, same thing with the truck. You'll follow that vehicle anywhere it ends up. After all this, after you fight the fire, you go to the 3rd one and just draw a fire card. And you're going to draw these fire cards here, and all of them are bad things happening. For instance, if you drew one like this, it says, hey, add flame to a 4 and a 5. So I would find tiles that have the 4 number flame on them, and you get to decide where you want to place it, and you had to place one there. And of course here it says place one on a 5, so I'd look at a 5 and place one there. So that's how fire can spread. You can also have fire hit on particular tiles, and it will tell you which tile you have to put the fire on. You could have things that say, hey, you need to change the direction of the wind. And so this is what the flag's here for, and so you would change the direction pointing to that tile so it would just face down like so. You could also have a light wind. Now, a light wind will blow the fire, and whichever way the windsock is blowing, that's where the wind's going to go. And so what you do is every time there's a fire, you blow it down 1, so it comes there. But there's already fire here, so in this case, we blow it down again. Now, there's no fire, there's no tile here, so you wouldn't have to put fire there. For here, you would only put 1 fire there, and you wouldn't put any other fire anywhere else because it didn't have fire. If it did, it would go to the next one. Well, not on that one because it's a lake. But for this one, you would add 1. Well, you'd add 1 over to the next tile, but you wouldn't add 1 to this tile because there was no fire here. This is the first time I placed it. The one over to the center here, you would also put that one down, and actually that one, which is only a 1, because it was really dry there, it would burn and it was scorched. That's a bad thing. So that's how wind goes. However, though, if I had had my fire break right here on a light wind, this fire never would have spread to that tile. So that's the reason you want fire breaks in the game. They can stop fires from spreading due to light winds. However, strong winds, it doesn't matter. You have to add the fire. It jumps over a fire break even on a strong wind. So there's a ton of awful fire cards in the deck, and you'll pick those, and that's how the fire can spread. What your goal is to put out the fire before 8 tiles get scorched, and that's how you win the game. Final thoughts, what do I think about the game? Well, this is my 2nd time to review the game. I went to find and post this video, and then lo and behold, it is missing from my library. What is going on? Anyway, so Let's recap here. First off, the box, though it's very small, is way too big. It should have been half the size here. They could have cut this in half. That's a minor complaint because we don't have much shelf space, gamers don't. So that they made the box way, and this is a small box, but honestly, it fits in only half of the box. Why do you want to make this big old box if you don't put that much in it? I don't get that. Now, of course, it is push your luck. I do enjoy the theme of firefighting. The fire pieces look nice, and the game is fairly simple and easy to understand. It does suffer from a problem of being boring. Hear me out. I love Flashpoint Fire Rescue. It's one of my favorite games, and I do like that one better than this one. Now, does that mean this one's a bad game? No, not really. It just means that if I'm going to play a firefighting game, I'd rather play Flashpoint Fire Rescue. This game wasn't bad. My gaming group was okay. Remember, they don't like co-op games, and they really don't. They haven't been interested in firefighting games, even though some of them have like Flashpoint a little bit, but none of them really enjoyed this. This seemed more like a chore, and that's sad when a game becomes a chore, right? You're like rolling the die. Okay, did I get it? No. Roll the die. Okay, well, we got it. It's fairly simple, like I said, but at the same time, it didn't seem to have that joy. Now, I do like it though. I like the theme that you have to work together. If you get separated, oh man, it's going to hurt you. It is outside, which is different from Flashpoint Fire Rescue. The Flashpoint Fire Rescue, they're not fighting fires out in the woods, but of course, in that game, you are rescuing people, and that's more important than fighting the fire. I don't know. Either way, though, this game is fine, just not as fun as Flashpoint Fire Rescue. So should you get it? Well, yes and no. If you have Flashpoint Fire Rescue, don't even bother. If you don't have Flashpoint Fire Rescue because you don't want to expend that much money, this is the cheaper option, and it's fun. If you didn't like Flashpoint Fire Rescue, you may like this one because they're really not alike. So there you go. There's my review. All right, gamers. Till next time, flame on. Oh, wait, that's the Human Torch.